Hello, it's Jim Hutchens for the Jerusalem Connection Spot Report for this week. I want to revisit a subject that we've talked about before, and that's the subject of anti-Semitism, specifically academic anti-Semitism. What do we mean by anti-Semitism? Well, Natan Sharansky, former Russian dissident, came to Israel, served in their Knesset, now serves as the head of the Jewish Agency. He has what he calls a 3D test of anti-Semitism to help us distinguish legitimate criticism of Israel from anti-Semitism. This is what he says. The first D is a test of demonization. The Jewish state is being demonized when Israel's actions are blown out of all sensible proportion, when comparisons are made between Israelis and Nazis, between Palestinian refugee camps at Auschwitz. This is anti-Semitism. This is not legitimate criticism of Israel. Second D is the test of double standards. When criticism of Israel is applied selectively, when Israel is singled out by the United Nations for human rights abuses, while the behavior of known and major abusers such as Hamas, Hezbollah, the various Islamic jihadists, China, Iran, Cuba, Syria is ignored, when Israel's Magen David Adom is alone among the world's ambulance services, is denied admission to the International Red Cross, this is anti-Semitism. The third D is the test of delegitimization. When Israel's fundamental right to exist is denied, alone among all peoples in the world. This too is anti-Semitism. And where is this focused today? It's not in the Ku Klux Klan. It's not out on a fringe right someplace. It's right in the very heart of the liberal, secular universities and colleges of our country. In an op-ed piece for Ynet, Giulio Meati has written this. Jews unwelcome on campus. Western universities becoming frightening bastions of anti-Israel and anti-Jewish hostility. From outside, the Western faculties appear as genteel oases of wisdom and knowledge and truth. Institutions of higher education are becoming brutal offspring of anti-Jew hatred. Famous faculties that have been an historical cradle of European civilization are sacrificing freedom and Israel to barbarism and obscurantism. He goes on. Even in America, the gloves are coming off. The Institute of Jewish and Community Research in San Francisco recently published a report titled Alone on the Quad, Understanding Jewish Student Isolation on Campus. One of the most comprehensive surveys of its kind. More than 40% of the students confirm anti-Semitism on their campus. Some 41% of all students have encountered anti-Israel remarks made in a class by professors. I just heard the Israeli ambassador from Israel to the United States, Michael Oren, say that practically every university where he has gone, secular university, their actions and attitudes and voices of anti-Semitism that are directed toward him. In Florida, pro-Palestinian group evicts Jewish students. Some 200 students attending Atlantic University received fake eviction notice sent by Palestinian activists. This Ynet article is concluded by a quote from Burrell Katznelson, a former Jewish Zionist leader. He wrote, quote, "We are called upon to defend ourselves not only from physical marauders, but also from spiritual marauders," end of quote. Today, the new spiritual marauders are based in Western faculties. They want to bring the war to the home of every Jew. It's an academic final solution, epitomized by a sign on the walls of London University, "Peace with Israel is a crime." I would suggest to you there are exceptions to this, but by and large, for all practical purposes, the Middle East Studies programs, the political science programs, the humanities departments are wholly owned subsidiaries of the liberal left. And that's where anti-Semitism is today. Jews do not have friends among liberals. They may be liberal themselves, but they don't have friends among liberals. That's where anti-Semitism is seated. The man who led me to faith as my regimental chaplain told me, he said, when I was getting out of the Army as an enlisted man, going to college, he says, "Remember this, Jim, you'll be a product of the last school you attend." That's very true today as well. So beware. Be careful where you send your kids to school. It could be hazardous to their moral and spiritual health. So until next week, Od Ki Yavo Shiloh, or until Messiah comes, Shalom Aleichem.